So thank you very much. Thank you very much for this kind of introduction. It's great to be actually closing this amazing day here with still a lot of people in the room and a lot of energy. So Mandeep just spoke to us about the need of the global governance. But of course, we have the things coming from global to countries, but also from countries to global. And I think this panel is exactly that. So we have today two panelists on, who hopefully will be very soon on the screen. So it will be Roberto Viola, Director General of DG Connect, European Commission, and Anne Neuberger, Deputy Assistant to the President of the United States and Deputy National Security Advisor for Cyber Emerging Technologies, National Security Council of the United States. And we have here with me, we have Mark Latonero, Deputy Director, National AI Innovation Office from the White House. Please welcome Mark. And then we have Juha Kekila, Advisor on Artificial Intelligence, European Commission. So with that, do we have Roberto and Anne online with us? I'm looking at our teams, and I see Roberto, and I see a nice picture of the White House here. So we'll start indeed with Roberto and Anne here. So we heard, as I say, from Amandeep now about the initiatives and the ideas of the global cooperation. Probably Europe and US are really among the most active countries and regions in terms of AI regulation and governance initiatives, which is not only now being built in Europe and US, but now you're already starting to talk across the regions and start to integrate. And just for the team, I don't think Anne is on the screen, so hopefully Anne will appear very minute. Oh, okay, it's here. It's only my screen. Okay, so that's giving some tips for me. So then I really would like to turn first for Anne and Roberto, and kind of in the true spirit of your collaboration, I'll let you choose who starts first, is what happens both in Europe and US and why you collaborate and how that collaboration benefits you and where do you think it leads on AI. Please, let's start with you.
Great. Thank you so much for the introduction. Roberto is a close colleague and also a gentleman, so he asked that the lady go first. So thank you to Director Bogdan Martin for hosting this timely and exciting event. I know we're both excited to be here, but I suspect Roberto agrees with me that when I hear that after us, the group goes for drinks and bonding and getting to know each other, we probably wish we were in Geneva with you. It's very good to be here with you, and as noted, my name is Anne Neuberger, and I serve in the White House coordinating our national security policies in the area of cyber and emerging technologies. We've heard from many world leaders that artificial intelligence is one of the most powerful tools of our time. And certainly President Biden has talked about the need for us to seize the benefits of AI and manage the risks. So we have three messages today as we describe this tight cooperation between the European Union and the US, which we see as being core to bringing benefits to all societies. First, AI can and must bring those benefits to all of our societies, as our speaker just said. Second, we must do this in a privacy-protecting way. Data is our lifeblood. We can and we must use that data at scale to bring value to our citizens' lives while also protecting our citizens' privacy. And finally, we're committed to doing this equitably. So while this started as a US-EU cooperation, we certainly see the future being a much larger collaboration among governments. I'll give two examples of how we see those three principles within the work that is currently underway. First, in healthcare, second, in emergency management. So when we look at healthcare and what we can do by bringing great amounts of data together to more quickly identify disease, more quickly identify efforts like cancer, and more quickly potentially accelerate drug discovery, we certainly see the benefits. And in terms of the equitable aspect, some of the areas we're looking at is the ability to predict extreme weather and then combine that with insights in the agriculture field to help guide irrigation and planning so that extreme weather, we can still potentially mitigate and manage the impact on food. We feel a strong obligation to do this in a way that doesn't leave anyone behind. So I want to just talk briefly about the EU-US Administrative Agreement and then turn it over to my colleague Roberto Viola to walk into further details. That agreement was signed in January with a focus on 5 core areas of AI benefit for our societies. I mentioned a couple of them: emergency management, health, and finally, agriculture optimization, electric grid optimization, and emergency emergency management when there's an extreme event. So Roberto will talk more about the efforts to combine AI, compute, and most importantly, our people, our researchers in work in this area and next steps. And with that, I want to turn it over to DG Roberto Viola. And thank you again for the opportunity for us to describe this joint partnership and our vision of doing and using AI for good for the benefit of all citizens. Roberto, over to you.
Thank you very much, Anne. Dear Torin, dear Thomas, it's really an honor for Anne and myself to be part of this summit. I subscribe, of course, every single word Anne has said. Let me complement. First, I start with my personal history of cooperation with the US, which starts with space. The US and Europe have decided a long time ago that they would cooperate in space for the benefit of mankind. And they did it. And the Hubble Space Telescope, the exploration of the universe, the space station, many other examples where they brought real advancement of science and technology for the benefit of everyone. And of course, in AI, it's a bit the same thing. We are convinced that we have to play our responsible role in terms of the governance, but also we are convinced that it's equally important to bring the benefit of AI to every citizen in the world. The idea of AI for good is the idea to really broker knowledge, broker ideas, and good applications of AI, make sure that the US agencies, EU agencies, talk to each other, the group of scientists, and make sure that in this way we can get the best of the best of applications in the areas that Anne mentioned, which is basically the core of advancing our society towards a better outcome. How does it work in practice? Let's take a concrete example that could be extreme weather modeling, where we are advancing extremely well in our cooperation. Extreme weather modeling is very important. More and more, because of climate change, we have extreme weather events everywhere in the world that take lives and disruption. So the more we can predict and prevent, it will be better. So you need extreme high resolution models that today are not available. This requires not only a massive computation power, but also AI algorithm. And as it happens, the European Union has a project, which is the digital twin of the Earth, which is called Destination Earth. NOAA, United States, is working on extreme weather. The White House is extremely attentive to extreme weather. And we are now starting to look in which areas we can complement. And of course, also offer the grid of supercomputers that the US and Europe have to actually make sure that this model can be put in action. And the same we will do with healthcare, the same we will do with electric grids and other areas that just Anne mentioned. So it is not directed from the top, it's coming from the bottom, from the scientific community, and we act as facilitators, and we act as enablers. And of course, once we stabilize a platform, say on weather forecast, or on healthcare in, for instance, cancer imaging, as Anne mentioned, then we would like really to open up this to the world. And we would like to open up with the spirit on which we do these things, which is to plant this new era of the human being working with intelligent machines, rooted in our principles, which are common and solid across the Atlantic, which is democracy, respect of the human being, respect of their privacy. Many thanks for your attention.
So thank you very, very much, both. Let's give a round of applause. So indeed, it's great to hear there's not only about the governance, but also creating these public goods that both can help all of us, in your regions, but that preparedness to open up to the world. And of course, special shout out to the efforts in the climate change and specific area of interest here in NTU as well. So with that, I'll ask colleagues here on the stage to drill a little bit deeper, and also in both in terms of AI for good, but also how to make sure that AI is not becoming AI for bad, So I think what you're doing on a national level as well. So I'll start with Mark first, and then Juha for second one. First, Mark.
Thank you, Thomas. And thank you for the kind invitation, and also to the ITU for the kind invitation. As mentioned, my name is Mark Latonero. I serve at the White House as Deputy Director of the National AI Initiative Office, which coordinates key activities on AI across the US government and supports opportunities for international cooperation. This is part of the Office of Science and Technology Policy that works to harness the power of science, technology, and innovation to achieve our greatest aspirations and tackle our biggest challenges. Highlighting what my colleague, Deputy National Security Advisor Ann Neuberger said, President Biden and Vice President Harris have been clear that in order to seize the benefits of AI, we must first manage the risks. We know that AI brings promising benefits. Just here at this very conference, we've heard how AI is being used to address global health. We've talked about extreme weather just now, and also advance the creative arts. However, the risks of AI are real, they are serious, and they are leading to harms happening right now. In the United States, we have seen examples where hiring algorithms discriminated against women job candidates, and instances where Black men were wrongly arrested for inaccurate facial recognition. We also see risks emerging in areas like cybersecurity, privacy, and democratic processes, particularly as advanced AI systems become embedded in our everyday life. With AI, we have a responsibility to center people's rights and safety, advance equity, and make sure that AI ultimately works for all people. How do we get there? The Biden-Harris administration is leading in the following ways. Last October, we released the Blueprint for an AI Bill of Rights, which explains how AI systems can be safe and effective, protect against algorithmic discrimination, respect privacy, ensure notice and explanation, and provide human alternatives to AI systems. In January, our National Institute of Standards and Technology released the AI Risk Management Framework that gives organizations a concrete way to map, measure, manage, and govern AI systems from a socio-technical perspective. Earlier this year, the President signed an executive order to root out bias in the design and use of AI in the federal government and deliver more equitable outcomes. In April, federal agencies made it clear that they will use their existing enforcement authorities to protect people from AI-related harms in civil rights, fair competition, and consumer protection. In May, the Vice President and the President met with leading AI companies to emphasize their responsibility to develop AI in a safe way before those systems are released to the public. And just 2 weeks ago, the President met with civil society leaders to hear their thoughts directly about AI's promise and risks. These are just some of the examples of what the executive branch is doing domestically to advance comprehensive approach to AI-related risks and opportunities. Of course, managing the risks of a global technology requires international cooperation, which is why the US is deeply engaged in international and multilateral fora on AI, why the US Department of State's AI Connect program supports the inclusion of more countries in multi-stakeholder fora, and a number of those participants are here today at the ITU, and why the US has developed strong bilateral partnerships in AI, such as our work with the EU, which we just heard about so eloquently. By working together to manage the AI risks, we can seize the benefits for the global community. Thank you very much.
So thank you really, Mark. And both for really both for explaining what to do, but also, and what's happening in the US, but also that, again, preparedness, engaging in multilateral forums and multi-stakeholder forums as we're having today. So we're really looking forward to having many more conversations with you here. And Yuka, now turning to you, last but definitely not least. And everyone is watching AI Act, you know? So it's like that's how it's progressing. And everyone is becoming expert of legislative procedures in European Parliament and trialogues and all other things, no? So indeed, so what's happening in EU in terms of AI governance and regulation, but also, of course, broader, as we heard from Roberto, it's not just about regulation, you know, it's about other things as well. Please, Yuka.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for this kind invitation, indeed, to be here at this prestigious conference. So for a number of reasons that have been already mentioned by previous speakers, of course, the risks and the concerns on the one hand, but also the great potential and the great benefits we can have, the European Union, the European Commission has from the beginning on had a comprehensive approach to artificial intelligence. So we want to address both the technological and the non-technological aspects of artificial intelligence. We think this is important because for the benefits to materialize, we need uptake and use of artificial intelligence, but that again depends on trust. And in order to manage this and in order to get the benefits and have the trust required for it, we need to balance innovation and protection, and this is what we've been doing. So we develop excellence, we develop trust. Those are the two pillars of our AI strategy. So we fund research and innovation, but we also address the risks, and in the AI Act, indeed, that's the concrete manifestation of it. We, of course, also want to prevent fragmentation through this. This is important in a union which has a high number of 27 member states. We want to prevent the fragmentation so that the single market functions properly. And we have legal certainty and a uniform legal framework for artificial intelligence. Therefore, we introduced this AI Act, a risk-based, innovation-friendly to regulating AI, which addresses certain uses of AI, intervenes where it's necessary, but not where it's not necessary. And where we feel there are risks to fundamental rights and safety, then there are certain requirements that need to be fulfilled, plus a certain number of very harmful uses which are not compatible with our values have been banned according to this proposal. Now, this is simply because we want to make sure that we can enjoy the benefits of AI with confidence and safety. We expect this now to be finalized by the co-legislators, the European Parliament and the Council of the European Union by the end of the year. This is what we hope. There will be a transition period at least 2 years. But because this is a technology which marches on, progress is very rapid. We also want to see that once the text has been finalized of the AI Act, we then see how this could be on a voluntary basis implemented by developers, companies already before that. So as it's been announced by a commissioner, we want to see how this could be put into practice on a voluntary basis before the provisions become applicable. But we also work internationally, so we want to work together with those countries which are willing to do so to promote trustworthy human-centric AI. We do this bilaterally, already as Mark mentioned, and Roberto and Anne mentioned, together with the US, but also with many other countries. And we're also active on multilateral forums. So we engage in these forums to advocate these goals of trustworthy human-centric AI, work together with those who advocate the responsible use and governance of AI, and we want to make sure that this is done in that way. And therefore we are in discussions how we can possibly put guardrails on AI on a more global scale and get involved in those discussions and see how this very potentially useful technology can be steered in such a way that it is for the benefit of us all. Thank you very much.
So indeed, so thank you very much, all our great speakers, and I think it's a great example again how this AI governance and AI, let's say, development can be built from ground up, being built in regional level and being brought together. So this is just another step in that discussion on how we can build this, as Doreen this morning called for, inclusive and safe and responsible AI for all of us. We'll continue discussions tomorrow as well, so this will only expand. Tomorrow we'll also have, we'll be convening 60 ambassadors, as well under the auspices of AI for Good Summit to further discuss how we all can work together to really progress on that. And with that, and not wanting to hold you further or be the delay between you and the cocktail that Anne kindly mentioned, and regretfully Anne and Roberto will miss. Thank you very much, and again, one round of applause for our panelists, and I'll pass it to our moderator then. Thank you very much.